I went in the house and I sat down for a minute because I started to feel sick. All the lights were on in the house. I sat down on her stool next to her bed. When I sat up, I was no longer in her bedroom. I couldn't see the hand in front of my face. It was just very, very dark. And the smell was the first thing that actually made me sit my head up, because I started to smell this putrid odor. It smelled like rotting flesh and burning sulfur. So I start freaking out and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did I just die?
Ashton, welcome to God's Voice Day. So excited to have you on the show. We connected briefly on my 15-minute phone call that I do on the other channel, and you shared your supernatural story, and it was powerful. So you had an encounter that started at a birthday party. You ended up slipping out of your body, and you were being dragged into something you never expected. So Ashton, feel free to take us back as far back as you want to, and paint a picture. What happened that night?
So that night it was, well, I thought it was going to be normal. It was, like you said, at a birthday party. I wasn't expecting any of the things that happened to happen. I was kind of just minding my business. Everybody's in the backyard, listening to music, eating, walking and talking. I'm just minding my business. And it all kind of started leading up to that night. I had been having some backsliding issues with the Lord, because the Lord had been telling me to let go of smoking and previously drinking. I was heavily addicted to both of those things because I was in deep, deep depression. I was in a really toxic relationship and went through a bad breakup because of that. So I was kind of like just drowning myself into anything that would keep me distracted from that. And I started going to church. I got baptized and everything. I got filled with the Holy Spirit at age 18 actually, but I backslid really bad. So I came back to the Lord and I told him I don't want to smoke anymore, but it's to the point now to where I couldn't stop if I wanted to, and I wanted to, but I literally just couldn't stop because I was that heavily addicted. So it started when I prayed this prayer. I asked God to take the taste of the weed out of my mouth permanently, to where I could never pick up another blunt ever again. And he did just that. So leading up to this night, actually before the day that this happened, I had went with a friend that I met up with him. We used to go to school together. I was in like 8th grade and I think he was in like 9th grade or something. We met up and smoked, but I hadn't seen him in a really, really long time. And even in school, we didn't talk that often. But when we met up, he offered to smoke with me, and he had like his, weed already rolled. And I didn't think anything of it. So I smoked with him. We sat in his car, and I had also brought a friend with me. And something started to feel just weird, like off. And we were kind of just sitting in the car talking. And I noticed like even stuff around his house, it didn't look right. Like most people have like furniture, most people have like their room, it looks like home when you go into their house. And this place, it looked abandoned. And I'm like, you live here? Like it does not look like you live here. And he noticed he also had he said it was his cousin, but there was a guy there and there was a pit bull there as well. He was a smaller dog, but we were kind of playing with them, and the dog was very aggressive to be a puppy. Like as he's playing, he's biting you and he's drawing blood. So I'm like, something just didn't feel right. So once we smoked, I noticed that feeling kept intensifying, and it wasn't just me, it was my friend as well. She was like, I feel weird being here. And I'm like, yeah, something's off. So I start hearing the voice of God telling me to leave. And as I'm about to leave, he starts getting like angry that I'm leaving. And he was like, well, I was already kind of feeling some type of way that you came over here with somebody, because I thought you were coming by yourself. And I'm like, I mean, I didn't think that was going to be a problem. But later on, we're getting ready to leave. He gets upset, kind of throws like this tantrum about me leaving. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to go. We left. And then it felt like we were being followed as we left. We kept seeing the same car behind us. And this was all the way up until we got back to my aunt's house. And then while we're in the car, I started to feel this like overwhelming like sense of fear. And when I went into her bathroom, it was like I was having a panic attack. I didn't really know what was happening to me, but I just felt fear. I've never felt so afraid in my life. And around this time, I was standing in the bathroom. I remember I was looking in the mirror at myself over the sink, and I started to get this hot sensation basically the same thing that happened at the birthday party happened to me, but it was like a very quick glimpse of what happened to me at the birthday party. It was like I was there in the bathroom and then I wasn't there in the bathroom. Um, it's really dark in there. Couldn't see the hand in front of my face again, but I just feel heat. It was blazing heat I've never felt before. And I have been in 105-degree weather and it was so hot. And I started to scream because I'm like, it's burning up hot. And then I start hearing beating on the door, but I can't see the door because I'm just in this dark place. But eventually I was pulled back into my body, but I didn't even know at the time I was pulled out of my body during this time. So as I'm screaming, my aunt's beating on the door and she's like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're in there screaming your head off. And I'm just screaming, I'm crying because I'm not understanding what's going on. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is the weed, like what is going on? And my friend, she's kind of like just paranoid, also feeling fear, but she didn't have the same reaction I did. So that was the first night that he was trying to get my attention to let it go. And I didn't realize that at the time. So fast forward to the birthday party. We're in the backyard. We're talking and mingling, and my head had been hurting for about 3 days prior to this. I had an ongoing migraine that didn't go away. So I took all types of pain pills, Tylenol, whatever you could think of to make it go away and it wouldn't stop. So my neighbor, I grew up with him. We met when we were 11. He lived down the street from my aunt's house, and just for my sake, we're gonna call him David. David, he told me that he had half a blunt rolled up at the house, and he was like, "Oh, well, it'll help your headache go away." So we walk back to his house. He grabs it. We come back to the birthday party, and we light it in the backyard. And my mom was kind of there, and she didn't really know that I smoked as much as I did. Like, she kind of would like walk past me and smell on me, like, "Why do you smell like that?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." I was lying about it. Um, but we went behind the little birthday party tent. I hit the blunt at least 3 times. So it wasn't even nothing too crazy. But after that, I'm out there still minding my business. Everything's fine. I don't even feel really high at this point because I didn't hit the blunt too much. So he comes back, and right before I'm about to go in the house, he's like, "Hey, try this." And I'm like, "What is it?" And he was like, "Just try it. Does it taste fruity to you?" So I drink whatever is in the cup. And I'm like, "Yeah, it does taste fruity, but what is it?" And he was like, "Try it again." So I sipped it again. I'm like, "What is this? Like, why does it taste like that?" Like, it just tastes like a very fruity, like syrupy lemonade type drink. I don't know. But I was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." Didn't pay it any attention. I go in the house, and I went in the house and I sat down for a minute because I started to feel sick. My stomach, it started to feel like it was literally spinning, my head spinning. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to have to throw up. Go to the bathroom. I call Earl a few times. I go into my aunt's room. All the lights are on in the house. I sit down on her stool next to her bed. And as I sit down, I started to hear laughter because I put my head on my knees, and it was regular at first, but then I noticed it was like a demonic tone, and then it got worse and worse, and it was like it sounded further away, but then it started to get closer. So when I sat up, I was no longer in her bedroom. I couldn't see the hand in front of my face, and it was just very, very dark, and the smell was the first thing that actually made me sit my head up because I started to smell this putrid odor. It smelled like rotting flesh and burning sulfur. And it was so awful. Um, I'm a CNA, so I have smelled all types of smells, but this was an awful smell. And I'm looking around and I'm kind of standing still because I can't see anything. So I'm like, where am I? And as I'm talking, it's almost as if like I can hear voices, but telepathically. And there goes the laughter again. And it's like this snickering laughter. I'm hearing all types of stuff, just demonic laughter. So I start freaking out. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did I just die?
Before we get back to the episode, if you're enjoying this interview, can you take a second to subscribe? It really helps us reach more people with these powerful stories. Thank you in advance. Now let's get back to the interview.
And it was like, I don't even feel like I'm in my body. Like, I have a body, but it's not my human body, if that makes sense. But I just started to feel like this overwhelming sense of fear once again. And it came over me. And this fear was alive. The darkness that I was in, it was alive. I could feel the presence of demonic entities, demons around me, and I could feel that they literally wanted to rip me apart. But it was like I was being protected while I was there. So I'm crying and screaming because I'm like, I now have the realization that I have died. I'm not in my body. And I'm like, oh my God, like, God, did I just die? And I'm like, oh God, like, why am I here? And I'm screaming, I'm crying. I'm like, this is not happening to me. This is not happening to me. I'm in denial. I'm just like, this is not happening to me. I need to wake up. I need to wake up. I'm trying to close my eyes and I'm opening my eyes and I'm still here and I'm freaking out. So I start to hear this voice and it's like a mocking voice and it's like, what did you take? And I'm like, I didn't take anything. I didn't take anything. Why am I here? And then I started to think, wait a minute, what did I take? And soon as I said nothing, it was like I dropped like an elevator, like you feel an elevator going down to the floor beneath you. That's exactly the feeling how it felt, but it was very swift. And I just felt the fear growing and the darkness, it was almost like it was breathing. While I'm there, I'm crying and I'm screaming, I'm crying and I'm screaming, and then I get pulled back into my body. And I'm now on my knees on the floor in my aunt's room. I guess I had lost consciousness when this happened because I was just standing right in front of the stool and now I'm over here out of it. I'm on the floor and I'm crying. Diego comes back in the room and he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. What did you give me? And I'm crying and I'm like, what the heck? Like, what just happened to me? Because just a few seconds ago, I wasn't here. So it's like I'm aware, but I'm in denial of what's going on. And then I'm like, okay, whatever it was that he gave me, maybe I'm tripping out on it. Like, that didn't just happen. So he's like, yeah, he was like, are you crying? I'm like, yeah, like tears are streaming down my face. And I'm like, what did you give me? What did you give me? And he kind of just like goes out the house and I'm just in there by myself and I'm pulled back out of my body. And now I'm standing in this line of, it was people before me and people behind me. And I'm standing in this line and I can't speak to anyone. There was no communication in hell whatsoever. None. Um, I'm just standing there and it's people by the thousands, probably by the millions in front of me. And I could see at the front of the line, there is this gigantic, it looked like a pot, like a witch's pot almost. And I saw this tall demon, very grotesque looking. It was dunking people in the pot. And as they were going in the pot and coming back up, their skin was boiling off and then growing back. And as it grew back, he dunked them in there again. And he's laughing. He's laughing, he's laughing, he's laughing. And I'm hearing other demons laugh at the torment of these people. And these people are in these lines and they are screaming and crying because everybody that is in this line, they all know this is about to happen to me. So I'm crying and I'm screaming because I'm like, oh my God, like I'm in this line. Like he's about to do that to me. And I am losing it, like losing it. I'm screaming, crying, crying out to God, just like get me out of here. And I come back into my body and now I'm flat on my back on the floor, screaming and kicking. And my aunt, my sister, another neighbor, and a cousin is standing over me. And they're like, Ashton, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And they're like hitting me. They're like, get up, get up, get up, get off the floor. And my sister, she's kind of laughing because she was like, oh, well, I think she's playing or something. And my aunt's like, oh, yeah, she's playing. And I'm crying. And I'm like, where's my mom? I need my mom. And I'm like, oh, my God, I need my mom. They're like, what is wrong with her? Like, why is she acting like that? And they was like, yeah, I think she's playing. They had no idea what was going on with me. So I stumble out to the front and I had so much fear in me. I could literally feel my legs shaking while I was walking. And I am calling for my mom. And my mom comes up the driveway. She sees me. She's like, what's happening? And as I'm trying to explain to her what's happening, I'm telling her, Diego gave me something. He gave me something. Um, and when I say that, she she's like, what did he give you? And I'm like, I don't know. He told me to drink this drink. I drank it. And as I'm explaining to her what happened, I'm pulled out of my body again. So um, I'm back in this hellish pit. And it was just pits of people being tortured and they were pulling each other down. Um, they were trying to crawl out of them, but it was like so many people like pulling on each other. It's like you can't get out and they're so deep, but they're filled with so many people. Um, it's dark. It smells awful. It's hot. And all you hear is screaming and gnashing of teeth. Like if you've ever been to a concert and you hear people excited to see their favorite artist, and I'm talking about almost like a million people screaming, can you imagine people not screaming in excitement, but screaming in terror and in fear? You will never get that sound out of your head. It is the most horrifying sound you can ever hear. And when they say that there's gnashing of teeth, it's literally people gritting their teeth because of the pain that they're in, and you can hear it. Like, it's by the millions of people. And it is the worst feeling that you could ever feel. It was horrible. And it takes me back to even talk about it because I remember the feeling, the overwhelming sense of fear. There is there's no fear here on earth that could amount to the amount of fear. You felt it in every single atom of your body, every fiber of your being. So as this is going on, I'm pulled back out of my body. My mom, she's shaking me, Ashton, wake up, wake up. She walks me down to the house, to his house, and she tells David's mom to come outside, and she wanted to talk to him. We go in the house, and she's like, what happened? She's like, well, David gave her something. I don't know what it is, but I wanted to ask him what it was. And I'm crying and screaming, crying and screaming. And as she's walking me down the street, as they're talking to me, I'm just praying the whole entire time out loud, but I'm praying, crying, and screaming at the same time for God to get me out of this place because I keep getting pulled back there. And it, now that I know, it was like my soul leaving my body, and I was fighting for it to stay there, to stay in my body, that is. So he comes out the room and he's crying, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, he's like, I didn't give her anything. And I'm like, if you didn't give me anything, why are you crying? Like, there's no reason for you to be crying. Like, I'm the one literally being pulled out of my body here. So he's like, I didn't give her anything, I didn't do anything. And he goes back in the room, and his mom follows him into the room trying to figure it out. And while I'm standing in there, I feel me about to get snatched out of my body again. It's like, now it's happened to me a few times during this occurrence of me basically being at my aunt's house, walking to his house. I can feel me when it's about to happen. So I'm like, oh God, here it goes again. Pull back out of my body. And right before his sister, she puts me on the floor because I'm like losing it still. And when she lays me on the floor, I don't want to be on the ground because while I'm on the ground, it feels, hell feels closer to me, like it's beneath me. So I didn't want to be on the ground. And before I'm pulled out of my body, I feel this, it's like an exploding feeling in my brain. I could feel it. It almost felt like an aneurysm. And it felt like something in my brain literally exploded. And it hurt so bad. It was a horrible splintering sensation right in the middle of my head. And I started to feel my body about to seize. Never had a history of seizures, but I can feel that I'm about to seize. So I'm telling her, she grabs a pillow, she puts it on the back of my head, and I started to literally hit my head on the back of the floor uncontrollably, pulled back out of my body again. So as I'm pulled back out of my body again, I am now standing in this, it wasn't a room, but it was like a room, but it was so white. I mean, the sun, the light from the sun, it's like bright, but it was nowhere near as bright as this. And it was almost like there was a chair there, but it was God sitting in his throne, but I couldn't see his face or anything. But I knew what it was. Also, when you are experiencing hell and even heaven, you know what's going on. You start to gain a type of consciousness that you didn't have in your earthly body. Like, certain things don't even have to be explained to you or told to you, but you just know what's going on. You just gain a type of wisdom and knowledge about everything that's going on. So I now know that I'm standing before the Lord, and I'm in the room of judgment right now. So I hear, what did you take? And I'm like, oh God. And I'm like, I did take something. I smoked and I drank that stuff, but before I could even say it out loud, I didn't. I said I didn't take anything, so I lied. And I now hear Satan accusing me. He starts bringing up every single sin that I had not repented for. Basically telling God that is the reason why I should go to hell, why I deserve to go to hell. And he's telling him, oh, she did this, she was in sexual immorality, she drank, she smoked, and she said she wasn't going to do it again, and all this other stuff. It was a bunch of stuff that he brought up, and he's basically like telling him like, no, she deserves to go to hell. So um right before I go back to hell. I'm standing there and I'm pleading for God, like, please don't let me go. Please don't let me die. Don't let me die. And I start calling out, Jesus, save me. Jesus, save me. I am calling for Jesus. I am calling for Jesus. I am screaming for Jesus. I am crying. And I'm pulled back in my body. And his mom comes out of the room and she gave me a piece of ginger. I don't know what she did that for, but because of the sensation, if you've ever eaten a piece of ginger, how hot it is, mind you, I just was in a place that was very, very hot. So I'm like, I didn't know. It was burning my mouth, didn't want it. So I spit it out and I started crying. And I'm telling my mom, I'm like, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. And she was like, Ashton, wait, no, Ashton, wait. So she's trying to hold on to me. And I get away from them because I'm like, okay, maybe if I get away from them, this will stop happening to me. Because I'm not sure why. Like, it's like every time I'm around them or I'm in this house, I'm now in another house, but it keeps happening to me. I'm basically just trying to escape what is happening to me. And no matter where I went, it kept happening. So I leave, I go out the house, and as I go out the house, I see this bright light. It looked like a gigantic orb, but it was in the sky. So I saw it. And I don't know why, but I felt the need to basically run after it. But I didn't even know that I was chasing death. People always say, like, when they had hospital experiences, basically dying on the table, you see this white light. When they always say, oh, don't go into the white light, that is literally death. It's the spirit of death. It doesn't come looking like what most people think, like the Grim Reaper with the axe thing. It doesn't come like that. It is a light. So I chased this light. I was running down the street, ran across another street, and my mom got in her car to literally chase after me because nobody could keep up. So never ran this fast in my entire life. I'm running, chasing this light. Um, I'm thinking it's a good thing. So I get to this church as I'm running. I ran across the street, and I get to this church. I've never been to this church before, but it was just there. The light basically hovered over it and came down. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is where I'm supposed to go. And I'm beating on these church doors. And according to everybody else, there it was empty. Nobody's there. But as I'm looking through the gates, there's a cross there, and there's candles going up and across the side of the cross. There were candles and they were lit. So I'm beating on the door, beating on the door, beating on the door, and I'm still calling for Jesus, praying and calling for Jesus. And I'm praying. They catch up to me. Caitlin puts me down on the ground again. And I'm telling her, don't put me on the ground. Don't put me on the ground. She lays me down. She's super strong. Um, Puts me down. And I now start to see that this orb is coming over me. It went from being really, really far away, and now it's right over me, and it's coming down on me. And my mom, she comes, my sister, my aunt, and another few neighbors, they were there. And I'm starting to feel like I'm gonna die. Like, this is not gonna stop. So I just accepted it. I'm like, I'm gonna die and I'm going to hell because of the way that I was living my life. And it was the fact that I was dying while committing my sin, which was addiction, which was the marijuana, because God calls us to be sober, and I was not sober minded. And while this is happening to me, I'm telling my mom, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. And I'm like, I'm sorry for being disobedient to you. I'm telling my sister, I'm sorry for always fighting with you because we used to fight a lot as kids. And I'm just apologizing to everybody. And I'm pretty much saying my last goodbyes because I now, like, no, I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm not living through this. So I started to literally feel my soul detach from my body. I could feel it. And I'm telling my mom, I love you, I love you. And they all start crying because they now realize I'm not kidding. Like, this isn't a joke. I'm not playing around. Like, I'm literally dying. And they had called the paramedics. Right when the paramedics get there, my mom, she gets in my face and she puts her hand on me and she says, I bind the spirit of death. And when she said that, the light literally stopped and it disappeared. It didn't go here, go there. It literally just disappeared. And everything kind of stopped. But leading up to this, I actually just left out a detail. I just realized that before they got to me, while I was beating on this gate, when I was pulled out of my body again, um, I saw it was these two hellhounds. They look like very large dogs that had been set on fire, like they were charred. The fur was hardly any, but it was like burnt to the skin, and they were just really grotesque looking. Like, they looked like they were rotting. They had glowing red eyes, and One of them grabbed my ankle and it bit down and it was pulling me and it's pulling me. And that's when my mom had got there. She, I'm telling her, get the dog off of me, get it off of me. And I'm screaming, telling her to get it off of me. She's like, I don't see any dog. I don't see any dog, but it's pulling me. And she's like, I don't see anything. So she's grabbing me because this thing is pulling me. And that's when I kind of went back into the, I don't even know what to call it. I'm just going to say like the hell realm. Um, I'm now laying on my back. These two demonic entities basically disguising themselves as like men or angels because they were really tall. They had on these robes and the robes were like dipped in blood, but the blood wasn't liquid. It's like you could tell what it is, but it wasn't liquid. There's no liquid, there's no water in hell. It's just fire. And there is life in blood, so there was no like it wasn't watery like blood is in your veins. So they had they were trying to nail me to this cross and they were laughing because I knew who Jesus was, but I was not living for him. So it's like, as a Christian, a lukewarm Christian, if you die and go to hell, they mock you because it's like you had the opportunity to live right before Christ, but you didn't. You knew who he was, but you didn't. So they mock you and they will crucify you on a cross as a form of torment. And they had these nails about this long and they were barbed nails, like basically other nails coming out the side of the nails. And they pulled my arm back. And right when they pulled my arm back, getting ready to hit me with this hammer thing, they were going to nail my hand to this wood. And right before that happened, that's when I was pulled back into my body. And then that's when they grabbed me and put me down on the floor. So, um, while this is going on, after she binds the spirit of death, the paramedics get there and everything kind of like slowly starts to stop a little bit. I still can fear that feeling, that fear feeling lingering, but it started to like slowly go away. But at this point, I'm literally in shock about what's going on and I can hear my heartbeat. It was beating so loud, you could literally hear it outside of my chest. And my pupils were dilated, meaning they were really, really big. The paramedics, they came and they're shining light in my eyes and they're trying to see if they needed to strap an AED on me to basically shock me because they could tell I'm about to go into cardiac arrest. So they start pulling out these machine things. They're strapping them onto my chest. Um, they're putting me in the stretcher. They're asking me questions and they're asking my mom questions. But at this point, because I'm in shock, I'm not responding. But then I hear the voice of the Lord say, "Don't say anything. I need to show you something." So they put me in the ambulance and I'm just sitting there, not saying anything. And I'm scared out of my mind because I'm still trying to figure out what just happened to me. And I'm like, I'm aware, but at the same time, it's like now I don't even know. I feel out of my mind at this point. I literally feel crazy. And I'm like, okay, he shows me this vision and I'm standing over my own body and I'm laying in a casket. And my mom, I seen other family members, my sister, and they're standing right next to the casket and they're crying and weeping over me. And God literally showed me he allowed me to live because that was where I was supposed to be. But he allowed me to live to tell other people what I saw and how real hell is. But he literally showed me my funeral. I was supposed to die that night, but he allowed me not to. And he told me to tell everyone what I saw, whether they believe me or whether they don't. And that is what I'm just supposed to do. And it took me a long time to actually do that, um, because I was scared. I was literally scared. And it was to the point to where it's like when something happens to you so traumatic like that, I developed PTSD and I was still wondering like, did I trip out? Like this it didn't feel real. And I couldn't fathom the feeling that I felt for God to say, I could have taken my hand off of your life. I could have took the breath out of your body, but I chose not to because I wanted you to tell other people what you just saw. So because of that, I did what he said and I obeyed God, but it took me a long time to, and he had been constantly urging me to tell people, and he never let me forget that. He never let me forget that night as much as I tried to forget it because it was so traumatic. It gave me nightmares, kept me up at night. There were several times I woke up out of my bed screaming out of my sleep, and my mom would have to come in my room and ask me, "Am I okay?" Because I would literally see it when I would go to sleep at night. But back to when they got me in the ambulance, they rushed me to the hospital and they started pumping fluids in me because basically what happened in that drink that he gave me, it was codeine, and I'm allergic to codeine. I never had it before, so I didn't know. And because of the allergic reaction, it was literally killing me. So they flushed my system, flushed my blood and everything, and they waited to just make sure that everything was out of my system. And while I'm sitting there in the hospital bed, the entire time when it stopped, my leg was still stinging, but because of everything that was going on, I wasn't trying to pay that much attention to it, but it was still stinging where the dog bit me. And I told my mom that my leg was still stinging, and she was like, I didn't see any dog. I didn't see anything bite you. She pulls my sock off, pulls my pant leg up, and she looks at the back of my ankle. And when she looks at my ankle, her face, it was just this look of shock and horror on her face because there was a bite mark on the back of my ankle. It looked like two fang marks, but it also looked like a burn, like it was burned into me. It wasn't just like a bite mark. When it bit me, it felt like somebody took hot coals off of a barbecue grill and burned me. It didn't just feel like a bite, it was a burning sensation. So she started to literally cry because she didn't believe me. Because she's like, okay, you say this thing bit you, but I didn't see it. I didn't see any of this stuff. But she started crying because she believed me. And there's proof there. It bit me. So she was like, oh my God, like, she didn't know what to say. So she sits down and I said, Mom, I have so much to tell you. What just happened to me? And she started crying as I'm telling her, and I'm telling her the details of all of this stuff. And she was like, yeah, you saw hell. Like, and I'm telling her I was supposed to go there. Like, God just, he let me live. Out of the million people that die every single day and go to hell because of the way that they live their lives, he saved me. And I will forever be grateful because there were so many other occurrences before that one to where I was supposed to not be here. I was almost even sex trafficked leading up to this event. It was he saved me out of that, saved me out of every single situation that I have been in, situations where I was not supposed to make it out. At least alive, that is. I was not supposed to make it out. And because of the way that I was living my life as a lukewarm Christian, I would have died and went to hell. And people think you say, oh, you could say the sinner's prayer, and even if you know you're going to sin, you could just repent later for it. It does not work like that. It does not work like that. You can say that you love him with your lips, but if your heart is far from him, your final resting place when you close your eyes is hell. You cannot live your life any type of way that you want to and then say, oh, well, I know God and I love God just because I go to church on Sundays, but Monday through Saturday you're living your life in sin consistently. It doesn't work like that. And it took me a while to actually realize that. After that happened to me, I literally didn't leave my house up until 2 to 3 weeks. Anytime my mom's like, oh, come with me to the grocery store, I'm not going anywhere. I was scared out of my mind to go anywhere, to even eat anything, to drink anything. All I wanted to do was sit on my bed and read my Bible because I was horrified. And people think that when you tell them about hell, you're fear mongering, and it's not to fear monger, but that is something that you should be afraid of. You should be afraid of being tormented and burning for eternity. This life is very short. Eternity is forever, and this is a torment that will go on non-stop. Like, it will never stop, ever. Do you really want to live your life like that? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And just walking before Christ, it's not an easy thing. But God never said it would be easy, but you literally have to die to yourself every single day because it's serious. It's way more serious. It's not a game. People play around with it, but it is not a game. And the Lord is literally pouring out his spirit on many and showing people. I've had many dreams of even like judgment that's coming upon this world because of the way that people live. And it's not a joke. And he does not wish for anyone to perish. But it's like if you go your entire life rejecting God and then you expect to spend eternity with him, it doesn't make any sense. That's like if you go to someone's house and you say, okay, well, I think you should let me in because I'm a good person. They're not going to let you in because they don't know you. It's the same with It's the same thing with God. He has no relationship with you. If he has no relationship with you, he's going to say, depart from me, for I never knew you. You will not inherit the kingdom of heaven walking in unrepentant sin and living and thinking, oh, well, I'll just repent for it later and just thinking it's okay. You're not. That is a lie. That is a lie from the pit of hell. That is a deception from the enemy. You cannot live your life like that. And it took me a long time to realize that. But over time, he revealed things to me slowly and surely. And when something like that happens to you, it's like you start to move differently. You judge yourself before you can even judge anybody else. It's like, well, look at where I almost end up. And the coldest part about it, when you are sent to hell or when you're in hell, even though you don't want to go, you know that you deserve to be there. I knew I deserved to be there, but he had mercy on me. Mercy I didn't even deserve. And that is something that I will never forget.
If you like this podcast, then you're going to love this. So every day I get about 6 phone calls from people all over the world sharing powerful supernatural stories. Unfortunately, not all of them make it on the main show. Sometimes because they're just not a good fit or they don't have enough details for a full interview. But these stories still need to be heard. And that's why I started a brand new show called God's Voice Daily. And starting June 7th, 2025, I'll be sharing one of these phone calls every single day. It's a huge commitment, but I'm willing to do it because these stories have deeply impacted my life. And I know they'll impact yours too. Subscribe now at God's Voice Daily Show on YouTube or go to godsvoicedaily.com. And now let's get back to the show. Ashtann, something that I remember on the first call, I think you mentioned in the first call, while you were in that ambulance, there were paramedics, and I think one of them was Gabriel, right?
Yes. I knew I was leaving out some type of detail. There was so much that happened. Yes. So when the paramedics arrived, the thing that was really weird about them is that I knew I was seeing it, but my mom seen it too. And she looks at me and she's like, do they look weird to you? They had a heavenly glow. I've never seen people look like that. You see people every day, all over, in the store, on the streets. I have never seen people almost have a iridescent like glow. Like, it was weird, but it wasn't something that was just physical. It was spiritual. You could just feel it and you could see it. And I'm looking at her and she's looking at me and I'm not saying anything, but she's saying what I'm thinking. I'm like, are those? And it was all 3 of them. All 3 men looked like this. It was 2 paramedic trucks that had came. When they came, it was those 3, and then it was another paramedic truck that had got there with a fire truck. And he's like, hey, we got it. The other paramedics walk off, but these 3 that stayed, they were angels. God revealed it to me later. They were angels. But when I saw him, it was such a overwhelming sense of peace that had came over me when he was with me. I literally asked him, are you God? And he chuckled and he said, no, I'm Gabriel. Now, if that doesn't tell you what that was, it's like, I don't know what can. He literally said, no, I'm Gabriel.
Wow.
And my mom, she looked at me with this look on her face and her mouth was gaping open. She couldn't believe what she was saying. And she said, it was something about them. And I was like, it was heavenly? She was like, yes. Those were not regular men. I don't care what nobody says. Nobody will ever convince me otherwise. Those were angels. And the Lord sent those angels to protect me. The moment they got there, everything stopped. Everything that felt demonic in the atmosphere, it stopped. It went away completely. And I was literally overwhelmed with a sense of peace that I had never felt in my entire life. I've never felt so safe.
They brought a piece of heaven with them, right?
Definitely.
Ashtann, how long ago did this happen?
This happened November 22nd, 2020.
Wow, during the crazy year, the COVID year, right?
Yes. Yes, a lot happened that year.
It's interesting you were talking about a line of people lined up in hell. I couldn't help but think of DMV. I'm like, I knew that thing was from hell. Somebody from hell invented DMV.
No, seriously. Yeah,
it's never a good experience.
Longer, but
wow, but a line, can you imagine being in that? Well, you were in that line.
I was in that line.
Knowing that you're in line to be tortured.
Yes.
And I'm sure they feel the pain, right? Even though it
They
grows
feel the
back.
your skin literally regenerates. Okay, in hell and even in heaven you have it's like you have a body, but all of your senses are heightened. So everything that you feel on here on earth, you get a paper cut, you stub your toe. It's like all of your emotions, you feel that times a million. Everything is enhanced. So everybody takes a shower, I assume, but when you go in the bathroom and you turn the water on and it's too hot and you jump out, or even when the cold water kind of hits your back and you flinch, you can't get away from the hellfire. You can't even stand in the shower with it being that hot. So can you imagine being dipped in brimstone and your skin boiling off by the layer, the muscle peeling off of you just for it to regenerate, grow back, and then it happened to you again and again and again? Like another thing that I even saw down there was people, if you ever been in a butcher shop, the way that they hang the pigs, or even beef, it was people that had butcher hooks in the back of their ankles and they were hung upside down, and their skin, there were demons literally clawing their skin off, pulling it off by the layer, and they're laughing, and the people are just screaming, just screaming, just screaming, and the screams were so agonizing it literally makes you gnash your teeth. To be in
And
that
that's
much pain,
forever.
literally grit your teeth forever. It will never stop. There are so many different levels of torment in hell. People think that hell is just like, okay, you're all just burning. No, that's the lake of fire. Hell is hot, don't get me wrong, it's very hot, but while you're in hell now, before God cast hell basically into the lake of fire, it's basically like it's torment. It's tormenting. The mental torment alone, that by itself. Can you imagine losing your mind but never getting it back? You're losing your mind over and over again. The feeling of actually losing your mind. You get every memory played while you were here on earth. Every time somebody told you about Jesus, the one person that walked up to you in the store and offered to pray for you and asked you, did you know Jesus and would you like to accept him as your Lord and Savior? Every single time that has happened to a person, that replays in your head. Every memory of someone inviting you to church with them, or you being in church but you wasn't paying attention because you were on your phone and you was falling asleep and you wasn't really paying any type of attention and you couldn't wait to get out because you were going to go hit the club later. Like every memory, it comes flooding back to your brain. Just the fact that you will never be able to see your loved ones ever again. And it's like when they go to heaven, they won't remember you if you're in hell. That memory is wiped. They will not remember you. But those memories alone, they're so tormenting and so painful. The mental torment of that, you're literally going crazy forever. Forever. And that's not even the physical torment that you have to endure. Like it was so much stuff that I briefly seen down there. Like if you were living in sexual immorality like I was, not to be vulgar, but you will be raped by demons. Can you imagine different size demons raping you? Small, big, huge, 13 foot, 9 feet. Like they're tormenting you. Every orifice that you have on your body is basically. Can you imagine that happening to you? Like, and this world is already as wicked as it is, but to think that it can get more wicked than that, it it changes you. It changes you who you are as a person. I was never the same again. I was never the same again. I couldn't be if I wanted to. The person I was before that happened to me, I couldn't be that person if I wanted to. It it was the most traumatizing thing that has ever happened to me, and I had a lot of stuff that happened to me
Ashton, did you ever second guess that experience? You know, as time goes
many
on,
times.
so
Many times.
sometimes you do question, like, did it really happen?
Yes, all the time. If anything, within the first week, all I did was stay in denial about it. I'm like, that didn't happen to me. But then every time I turn around, I would get in my bed and I would look at the mark on my ankle, and I'm like, yeah, it did. But did it? Was it the weed? Was it what? What was it? Was it what he gave me? Maybe it was that. Maybe it was that. I was thinking that for a long time, and I kept getting confirmation it was not that. It was to the point there where it happened so much. I was like, okay, maybe I'm actually crazy. Like, maybe what if I like hallucinated, like all of that? Like, what if that never happened? What if that place, like, I'm trying to come up with every possible scenario for it to make sense to me, just so I wouldn't have to be afraid. And I kept getting confirmation. No, I didn't make it up. I didn't hallucinate it. I went on YouTube and I found all types of different videos of other hell testimonies, and I had no knowledge that this has happened to other people. Like, I was convinced that I was crazy. So when I watched their testimonies, I'm like, you saw what I saw. Like, okay. And then I watched another one. I'm like, I saw that too. I experienced that. And when they described the overall atmosphere, the spirit of hell, when they described that, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. It was very reassuring, but
What about the judgment room when you were there and Satan accusing you? Looked like he was winning, right? Looked like
oh, he
you were
was
being
winning.
condemned to hell.
I was guilty. I was found guilty because it's literally we literally get our court system and our military from hell. Like, people think that hell is because hell is hell. Do you think that it's disorganized? It's very organized. It is more organized than you could ever imagine. Every single sin that you commit, there is a level of torment for that. And when I say levels of torments, there are different levels of hell descending further and deeper. So you have, if you were a liar, if you were an adulterer, if you were sexual immorality, if you were a murderer, if you were a rapist, if you were a pedophile, it just goes from there. Different levels. But when I was standing in that room, standing before God, the first thing I did was drop before my knees, because if you've ever, we all have been children and we all have gotten in trouble with our parents. Have you ever had your parents scold you, or you knew you did something so bad that your parents were about to get mad at you? And that feeling of, oh my God, like I'm in trouble. It was like that times a million. Like, I felt so disgusted. I felt so little compared to this mighty God that I was standing in front of. And when they say every knee shall bow, you have no other choice. You have no other choice. Like, there are so many people that say, oh, I'll never bow to God in this. Like, you better watch your words.
Who was asking you, what did you take?
Well, first it was Satan, but then eventually God did ask me. And when he was asking me, it was like in a mocking kind of tone. What did you take? What did you take? And I lied about it. I'm like, I didn't take anything. I lied twice. And the two times that I lied, I was dropped into a deeper level of hell for every time that I lied.
Why were you asked that?
Honestly, I was asked that question, I feel like, to see if I would tell the truth, but also because of the fact that I had smoked and then I drank that stuff, even though I didn't know what was in it. I could taste the fact that there was some type of alcohol. So when he did tell me to drink it again, I did. And I know that we're not supposed to drink or smoke. So the fact that I did that after I said I wasn't going to do it, knowing that that's a sin, it's a sin to basically not be sober minded. So people say, oh, well, there's no specific scripture in the Bible. It literally says to be sober and be vigilant. Anything that you take that alters your mind state, it's a sin. You're altering your natural state of mind. That's witchcraft. It's literally witchcraft.
Speaking of addictions, after this experience, can't imagine you going back to drinking, smoking, all of that stuff.
I tried to smoke one more time after that. And also, when this happened to me, I didn't come back. I don't want to use the word normal, but I guess I can say normal. You know that while I was dealing with all of this, I was like in that new age spirituality stuff, doing the yoga, the chakras, all that. My third eye was opened. So it was to the point to where when I would close my eyes, I could see with the eye that was not these two. So I could see demonic spirits. And I could feel when they were in the room with me. I could feel that when they were in a person, and I can see them. And actually, God blessed me with that gift, discerning of spirits. to where you can look at a person and you can see what type of spirit is on them. That, it never left. I asked God to take it away from me, and it was like he toned it down, but he never took it away completely, because it was to the point to where, can you imagine going to sleep at night? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people have experienced sleep paralysis. I would see stuff in my room or just in the house, anywhere where I would fall asleep. I would see these demonic beings standing over me, tormenting me, just kind of around the house. Um, and when you open your third eye in the spiritual realm, when you can see it, it's a literal eye. It's a literal eye. When I saw it for the first time, it freaked me out. Freaked me out. And I asked God, I'm like, whatever I did to get this thing, take it back. Take it back. To walk around and see demons with your naked eye, it's not a pleasurable thing.
Yeah, I would never want to see them.
No, no.
I get an idea. They look hideous. I want to see angels. Angels
They're
would
pretty
be
scary too.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, there's just this idea of seeing something outside of this world.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't appeal to me. I kind of like just seeing people.
Definitely, definitely.
But another thing you said, lukewarm Christians are being mocked and crucified. Like I heard people say crucified upside down on the cross. Man, it doesn't benefit you being lukewarm.
No, it doesn't. Because it's
That's why
like,
the Bible says that rather you be hot or cold, but don't be
or I'll spit you
lukewarm.
out of your mouth. Yep. And then it's like, when you said it doesn't benefit anyone, it doesn't. You can probably fool everybody else, but you can't fool God. You can't fool God. You may think that you're getting away with a lot of the stuff that you do, the front that you put on, but you can't fool God. He sees all. He knows all. He knows your heart. He knows your heart better than you do.
And there's no peace being lukewarm because you're not fully committed. It's kind of like, you know, when you have an important decision to make and you haven't made
Yes.
that decision, you have that torment, that weight on your shoulders. But once you make that important decision, it's like you feel lighter again. You feel like this weight was lifted off of you. And that's kind of how I look at being lukewarm. It's like both sides have something against you. You're like one
Definitely.
foot here, one foot there. And it's so much better just to make a decision, commit. And obviously it's better to make the right decision. But
Right.
being in the middle, man, that's not a good place to be.
No. I saw this Instagram story about basically this guy. He was standing in this field, and in the middle of this field there was a fence there, and on one side is Satan and on the other side is God, and Satan's telling him, oh well, I'll give you all of these riches and I'll give you everything that your heart desires, um just basically come with me. But I guess he said something about you have to give me your soul or something. And then God on this side, he said, you won't get any of those things, but you'll have eternal life or something. And the guy, he was like, okay, well, he was thinking about it, and he goes and sits on the fence. And a couple seconds later, he blacks out and everything's black. Everything is pitch black. And then Satan comes standing before him, smiling and laughing. He says, wait, I didn't choose. I just sat on the fence. And the devil told him the fence is mine. It's literally like that.
Yeah, because why would God want somebody who's not fully committed? Just like,
Right.
you know, when you've married, why would you want to marry somebody who's not all in? Or
The
an
fact that you have to
employee?
second guess and really think, like, is that something that the moment you do that, it's like, you got to check yourself.
Yeah, you nobody wants somebody who's not all in. You want
Right.
somebody who's all in.
Right.
No plan B, burning the bridges.
No. And
Somebody
God has
who's just all in.
God has feelings too, and he's a jealous God. He's a
I'm
jealous God.
curious about that gentleman that gave you the drink. Did you share that experience with him?
Honestly, it's like we've seen each other afterwards. It was a long time before I did see him, and it took me a long time to actually forgive him for that, but I did eventually. Um, I forgave him for it. And eventually he ended up needing me. I never directly told him about that because we didn't stay in contact enough to. So when it's like I would see him, it was like a high and by thing, other than the two things that happened to him that were life and death threatening. But I have never really sat down and actually told him what him doing did to me.
Well, Ashton, in closing, everyone watching who's still on the fence right now, what would you tell that person?
Get off the fence. I would tell them, hell is not a place that you want to go. I promise you it's not. We're not even supposed to swear, but I swear on my life, it is not anywhere that you want to be. Even though we all technically deserve to go there. But by the grace of God, and because of Jesus sending his son to die for us, he took the keys, and that is paid for. So we have the opportunity to not go there. I would recommend not going there, because the messed up part about it is God doesn't send you to hell. You send yourself. You literally send yourself by rejecting him.
Because hell is the
So
separation of God. God
yeah,
is
and
good. There's nothing good there.
that was the worst part about hell. It wasn't even the torment. Don't get me wrong, the torment was horrible, but to never feel the presence of God again. And that means all good things. Communication. You can never talk to anybody again. There's no communication in hell. Everything that is good, that is God. You will never feel those things again.
Powerful, powerful. Great wake up call. Well, Ashtann, thank you so much for sharing your story, not once, but twice. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I have another video I want you to see. Up next, my friend Robin Cunningham left his body and he saw heaven, hell, and even Judgment Day. And guess what? It's closer than you think. That video should be coming up on the screen right now. If you don't see it on the screen, check the description below for the link. Until next time, have a great rest of the day, and I look forward to serving you and getting to know you more inside of our free private community over at family.godsvoicetoday.com. Talk soon. Bye-bye.